Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm your host Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning all about the drums. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. We've all seen drummers on stage, sometimes buried behind some pretty epic kits. They can have multiple bass drums, loads of toms, and more cymbals than anyone would care to count. But would you believe that someone actually built a drum kit with over 1,000 pieces? What do you think? Is this an actual fact or too good to be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is rudiment. R-U-D-I-M-E-N-T. In the world of drumming, a rudiment is one of the basic patterns or exercises that form the foundation of more complex rhythms. Think of them as the alphabet for drummers. Just as we combine letters to form words, drummers combine rudiments to create intricate beats and fills. There are 40 official drum rudiments recognized by the Percussive Arts Society, with names like the paradiddle, the flam, and the drag. Mastering these patterns helps drummers develop essential skills like stick control, timing, and speed. The word rudiment comes from Latin roots. The Latin word rudis means unwrought or rough. That brings us to rudimentum, which is the Latin word for a first attempt, a beginning, or a raw, unformed thing. So rudiments are a drummer's sort of raw foundational elements they learn at the beginning of their musical journey. Before you can play a blistering solo, you first have to master the simple, raw patterns of the rudiments. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about drums. Number 1, the oldest known drums were made from alligator skins over 7,000 years ago. Drumming stretches back way longer than most people realize. Archaeological discoveries in China have unearthed evidence of alligator drums dating back to as early as 5500 BCE. These instruments were found at sites associated with the Daoincao culture, a Neolithic community that lived in what is now Shandong province. The drum frames were made of wood, and the drum heads were crafted from stretched and dried alligator hides. These drums likely weren't just about keeping a beat and getting some dance grooves going. They likely played a role in rituals, ceremonies, and possibly even communication. The discovery of these well-preserved artifacts shows that humans have had an instinct to create rhythm and use percussion for social and cultural purposes for a very, very long time. Number 2. In West Africa, some drums can talk. For centuries, cultures in West Africa, particularly in Nigeria, Ghana, and Senegal, have used a special type of hourglass-shaped drum known as a talking drum. This isn't a simple figure of speech. These drums can actually mimic the pitch, rhythm, and tone of human speech. By squeezing the ropes that connect the two drum heads, a skilled player can change the pitch of the drum's sound, creating a range of notes that emulate the tonal patterns of local languages. Historically, these drums were a vital form of long-distance communication, serving as a kind of musical telegraph. Messages could be relayed from one village to the next much faster than a person could travel. Drummers could announce births, deaths, ceremonies, or even warn of an approaching danger. Number 3. The Beatles' first appearance on American television created a generation of drummers overnight. When the Beatles performed on The Ed Sullivan Show on February 9th, 1964, it was a cultural earthquake. It's estimated 73 million people tuned in, and for many young viewers, it was their first time seeing the band. While all four Beatles became superstars, the drummer, Ringo Starr, and his Ludwig drum kit with the band's name proudly displayed on the bass drum head made a particularly huge impact. Following that single television appearance, the Ludwig Drum Company was flooded with orders. Their production had to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to keep up with the soaring demand for drum kits from kids across America who suddenly wanted to be just like Ringo. The British invasion and Beatlemania didn't just launch a new era of pop music, it sparked a nationwide drumming boom and solidified the iconic image of the four-piece rock band. Now, as long as I'm talking a little bit about pop culture and drumming, I have to share a little tidbit about the famous song Wipeout. That iconic opening beat in Wipeout was actually just a last-minute filler. The 1963 surf rock classic Wipeout by the Surfaris is famous for one thing above all else: its fantastic drum solo. The beat is iconic and instantly recognizable, but that legendary solo was actually never planned. It was created on the spot in the recording studio as just a simple place filler. The band needed a song to be the B-side to their single Surfer Joe, and they quickly wrote an instrumental piece. To connect the different sections of the song, they needed some filler. The band's drummer, Ron Wilson, simply played a variation of his high school marching band's drum cadence, and the rest is history. Number 4. Drumming is a full-body workout that might actually make you smarter. Drumming is a fantastic form of exercise, engaging your entire body, including not just your arms and legs, but also your core and even the brain. Studies have found that drumming for an hour can burn about 400 to 600 calories, similar to going for a brisk run or a long bike ride. Drummers are constantly moving, coordinating all four limbs, which builds stamina, improves cardiovascular health, and releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in your brain that reduce stress and create a sense of well-being. Beyond the physical benefits, though, drumming is said to have a pretty big impact on the brain itself. The act of learning and playing complex rhythms creates new neural pathways and strengthens the connection between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Research has shown that drummers have superior problem-solving skills and higher IQ scores compared to non-musicians. So, taking up the drums is not just a fun, creative outlet, it's also good for your body and your mind. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: there's a drum on the International Space Station. Music is a universal language, and it has even made its way to outer space. Among the scientific equipment and supplies aboard the International Space Station, you can also find a few musical instruments. Over the years, the ISS has had a number of jam sessions, and in April 2018, the crew of Expedition 55 took a break from their work to hold a zero-G jam session using guitars, flutes, and a rather unique drum. It appears to have been fashioned out of a Russian KTO solid waste container, but a percussive instrument nonetheless, played as a hand drum, so I'm counting it. While there don't appear to be any recordings of the music, you can see pictures on NASA's website. Having instruments in space serves an important psychological purpose for astronauts who are on long-duration missions far from home. Playing music can be a way to relax, connect with their culture, and maintain a sense of normalcy and humanity in this extraordinary environment. Now for some news you can use. If you're an aspiring drummer, one of the best tools you can own is a simple practice pad. These are small, quiet pads, usually made of rubber or silicone, that mimic the feel and rebound of a real snare drum. The biggest advantage is that you can practice your rudiments, stick control, and timing almost anywhere without making a lot of noise. This means you can get your practice time in at night, in an apartment, or while traveling without disturbing anyone. Using a practice pad forces you to focus purely on your technique, your hand grip, wrist motion, and the evenness of your strokes without being distracted by the full sound of a drum kit. Many professional drummers spend hours on a practice pad to keep their skills sharp. So, if you want to improve your drumming, investing in a practice pad is one of the smartest and most considerate things you can do. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if you would believe that someone built a drum kit with over 1,000 pieces. If that sounded too high to you, you're right. This one is a fallacy, but it's not that far off. The Guinness World Record for the largest drum kit belongs to Dr. Mark Temperato of New York for his 813-piece kit. It may not be over 1,000, but it's the biggest in the world. The kit is so large, it takes hours to set up and has to be transported in its own special custom-built trailer. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about drums with me today, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.